What's going on, guys? It's Mr. DEBT, Joe Lorick, founder of the Money Etiquette Group, and I just want to talk about something really quick. I won't take up too much time, but I want to see what your thoughts are. So after I post this video, leave a comment, tell me what you think, criticize it, whatever you want to do, say your piece, but I want to see what your thoughts are. I was thinking about leverage with the NBA and NFL and athletes. I was thinking about players versus owners, and how is it that we could, as players or athletes, how can the athletes and how can the families of athletes get more leverage when it comes to the leagues, the NBA and the NFL, more than what they already have? And of course, we know the number one commodity an athlete has is talent. So you always think about talent first before, trying to control the league through money, through trying to mess with their profits, because it affects your well-being, because it affects the athlete's salary and the money that they make and their well-being on a short-term and long-term basis. So what's some ways outside of that could be leveraged, where their talent can be leveraged to get them more leverage? And I was thinking, it's about the structure. I think everything that's needed to gain leverage or to gain more leverage over ownership in the NBA and NFL, it's already there. All the tools that are needed are already there, but I feel like we just are not taking advantage of them. This is what I mean. This is a big sacrifice, but tell me what you think. We understand that now, unlike in the past, when you're a high school athlete, when you're a top athlete, your skills and your talent is distributed not just through your local community, but throughout the world, sometimes throughout your state, throughout the country, because of social media platforms. So you're not limited to CBS, NBC, ABC. You're kind of able to move, or you're kind of able to distribute and broadcast your talent more readily than in the past when you were dependent on just a few networks or maybe a local newspaper. So we have a much louder voice when it comes to our high school athletes. People know more about their talent and what they can do. But what we do is we often steer them straight to the NCAAs, okay? We actually steer them to college football and college basketball to say this is the best way to get into the NBA or NFL, to go ahead to one of these big Division I schools, because we know you'll get a lot of exposure and then you'll also attract the lead. However, that's not necessarily the way things have to be. What if we actually steered our children away from college sports? Not college, but college sports. What if we set up leagues where they still could attend college, but we would pay their tuition and then also pay them a salary for their talent? And if we actually took the top talent, okay, if we made sure that our children who were the top recruits, the top 200 high school players in the country, and we created a league where they played, the NCAA level of Division I sports would become watered down. So the product would not be as good. And when people are used to seeing top level talent in the NCAAs and then in the NFL, they pay a lot of money to see that top talent. You take that away and then people know it's watered down. So that's where you have leverage, when you have talent, when you have a cluster of talent in one place. Right now, the NCAA has a cluster of talent in one place, and they feed that talent to the NBA and NFL. That's where the NFL and NBA go to get that talent. But what if we force the NBA and NFL to go elsewhere, to come to us to actually acquire that talent? That would change leverage. So per se, if the NFL or NBA wanted to deal with one of our athletes, who are our children, who are our family members, they would have to deal with them in a total different way, because they would have to deal with us too as ownership. What I mean by that is, if the leagues were actually, this league, let's say, that had all this talent, that didn't go to the NCAAs, but actually we created a professional league, which will make them ineligible to play in the NCAAs, but they still could go to school. We're paying for it. They're still going to school. If these leagues were actually owned by neighborhood associations, by small groups, okay, with a more diverse ownership representation, you don't just have one group of people representing the majority of players, and they aren't even of the same background, and they don't come from the same areas as these athletes. They're actually just invested in them as a financial means. If we actually represented them through ownership, because we are them, that is, we are from the same community as the athletes. If we actually did that and had a cluster of talent, that would force the NFL and NBA to come to us and to those athletes in a different manner because they would have less leverage. So think about it for a second. And this isn't that difficult, okay? I'm talking about, you know, it's purchasing a team for $50,000, okay? Making sure that you have an arena or somewhere to play. When it's top level talent, you're like, okay, well, the major news networks, broadcasting networks won't support it. You know, your NBCs, your ABCs, your CBS. But then if we think about it in that format, if we think about it in that way, we're actually not paying attention to today. You don't need those major networks to have a platform. You can just use social media. You can use so many other, those are the actual broadcasting networks that are free for us to use. You know, and we know that people have blown up off of just being on social media, and then the other networks, the major networks, had to come to those individuals. They wanted to make those individuals a part of their broadcasting programming. So in order to make those people or make those individuals and those institutions a part of their broadcasting programming, they had to actually come to them and ask for something, because the individuals who had a platform had leverage. And what I'm saying is that our athletes today already have a platform. People know about high school players around the world before seeing them on ESPN or anywhere else because of social media, because of the many different platforms, your Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, so many more. Because of these platforms, we don't have to depend on ABC and NBC and CBS to choose to broadcast our athletes and their talent. So the leverage is actually in our hands. You could actually have your own leagues with a cluster of the best talent, let them play against each other, make sure that people pay to see these athletes display their talent, and make sure they get paid, and make sure in their contracts, part of that goes to school if you want them to attend a university. If you don't, so be it, but the other part would go to them because they should be paid for their talent. And again, then the NBA and NFL would have to actually pull from this talent pool where the talent has more control over their careers, where they actually have more leverage, and they would have to speak to the ownership, us, and they would have to bend to what we wanted instead of us giving them the majority of the leverage. Because I can tell you now, if you think people will enjoy watered down sports, if you think that people will enjoy an NBA or an NFL that's not that doesn't consist of our best athletes, and actually people know about our best athletes now, like I said, because of social media and because of the age we're in, people know about them a lot earlier than before. That's leverage. If we use that leverage, would it be possible to then gain more control over ownership in the NBA and the NFL? Maybe we could, maybe we couldn't. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts. I think it could be done. I've seen it done, because guess what? Here's the catch. Here's the catch to all of this. That's what the NBA did. That's what the NFL did. They leveraged their positions with ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, ESPN. They used their control or their pool of talent to leverage the networks, and then that gave them that gained them more leverage. We can do the same thing, and it will be a lot more impactful, in my opinion, than a simple protest where the minority of protesters don't represent the majority of viewers and contributors and consumers. What we are the majority of are athletes. So you have to use that talent as the leverage, not just viewership, in my opinion. Tell me what you think. You can disagree, agree, but I just want to hear your thoughts on that. And please just let me know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, if you feel it, if you don't. If you can add some more context to it, I'll try. This is a short video. It might seem long, it's short. I can add more context in the comment section. But tell me what you think, comment, and we'll see where this goes. All right, have a good one.